We live in beautiful communities. Como mexicano-americanos, nuestras familias vinieron a esta tierra en busca del sueño americano, una vida más próspero y saludable para nosotros y nuestros hijos. Teen pregnancy is a challenge in our communities and can greatly limit our teens' abilities to live out their childhoods, pursue their educations, and reach some of their life goals. La comunicación entre padres de familias y adolescentes sobre relaciones sexuales y su protección ha tenido un impacto profundo en la juventud y les ayuda a tomar mejores decisiones para su futuro. Join us as we explore a new path, a new approach. Learn how to help your children live their best life, ahora.
I know with my own kid, like having that conversation wasn't easy. It was a very awkward conversation to have. But at the same time, I think that I love her so much and I want her to be a happy, healthy adult. And that's part of the human experience. And I want her to have all the information and to be a safe and happy, fulfilled adult.
Have those conversations early before it's too late, so you don't have a teenager coming home either getting pregnant or getting somebody else pregnant, or a teenager coming home with an STD or STI at a very young age.
Tenía miedo que me iba a juzgar, que se iba a enojar conmigo. Y ahora siendo madre yo misma, es importante para mí tener esa comunicación abierta con mi hija, dándole la confianza que venga conmigo con cualquier pregunta que tenga, en vez de enojarme yo con ella, darle la confianza de poder hablar conmigo.
También en la escuela o en la casa que deben de hablar con los alumnos, con los hijos de sexo, porque es muy importante, es muy importante, it's very important.
En la mente de ellos, hablándome sobre el sexo, me estaban dando permiso de hacerlo. Y para ellos, el sexo es solamente para la gente casada.
It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, I'm giving you all this information about birth control, so it's okay to have sex. No, absolutely, that doesn't mean that. And I think a lot of times parents think that if they have those discussions with their children, that that's what it means.
To trust your kids. Yeah. Trust them. Because, like, I think that other kids are scared to tell their parents about stuff because they feel like their parents won't trust them.
Yo sé que cuando tengo que hablar con ellas acerca de las decisiones que toman, es importante si estamos hablando acerca de sus amistades, con quien se juntan y lo que hacen. Es muy fácil para mí. Otros temas como la sexualidad, porque ellas están chicas de edad, se me hace un poco más difícil, pero afortunadamente tengo el apoyo de mi esposa y entre los dos tenemos buena comunicación con ellos.
Creo que es muy importante de que hables con tu hijo sobre teniendo relaciones sexuales cuando llegan a cierta edad. Porque acuérdate de que ellos siempre te están viendo y siempre quieren ver cómo es ser un adulto y tú eres su mejor ejemplo.
Información es información y cada uno hace sus propias decisiones. Y honestamente preferiría yo que me hablaran sobre el sexo porque tuve que agarrar la información sola o de parte de amigas y no de las personas que me aman.
Have that discussion with your child, talk to them, but don't necessarily say abstinence only, because yes, you know, in an ideal world, of course, we want them to stay abstinent until they're ready to have sex. But that's not the reality, and the message would just be, you know, talk to your child about all the different options that they have available.
A good way to tell kids and stuff is right when they hit junior high, 7th grade year, is because they're already watching movies and you know, there's already commercials and stuff, so they're gonna be thinking what's going on, and they're gonna want to know and start asking questions.
It's just a conversation that we have in our family. Does she like it? No. It's oh God, Mom, this again.
But it stuck.
But it sticks, and it's stuck, and so I'm confident that she will make safe and healthy choices for herself. So it's worth the awkwardness, and it's worth kind of the resistance to get the information in there.
Pregnancy is a blessing, and it's something that is going to, in many ways, have a very positive effect on their life. But I think it's something that if you look at the statistics, if you can wait and plan that a little bit more, you're more likely to end up in a much better situation for yourself and for your child.
And it is heartbreaking. It's very hard for the families. It's hard for that teenager. Just looking at statistics, these teens that become pregnant will, within 2 years, probably have another pregnancy.
And then just finishing high school, you know, it just makes it that much more difficult. Having, you know, a child waking up in the middle of the night, needing to be fed, needing to change a diaper, and then still get up, you know, to be at school. If they were at a traditional school at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's very challenging, and I saw that firsthand how difficult it was for them to succeed and to graduate.
Because there's a lot of work being a 17-year-old dad. And then when I got married, it was in November, and we had our baby in May, and I graduated in June. And so I just told somebody a little bit ago, I had a career. My senior year, I was gonna be a soccer star, track star, cross-country star. I gave it up to be a dad.
I didn't receive the opportunity to be a young man, you know, what it's like to just, you know, have no responsibility.
I really saw firsthand the fact that most of the teen dads do not stay in the picture, and these teen moms were definitely forced to raise a child on their own.
Especially when we were going to college, because we were both working, we were both going to school, we had a child to balance, and it wasn't easy. It really wasn't easy, and there were some days that were really tough. But there was also those days that were totally worth it.
I never learned about like really stuff, healthy relationships.
But we're going to model how to deal with your frustration, how to speak to your partner that's in a polite, kind of productive way, and there's certainly no hitting and no throwing of things. So I think that modeling at home, it's like it's okay to be real with your kids, but let's just model a relationship that you want them to have one day.
So you know that you can come to me and ask me any questions, right? You know that you can talk to mom about it, right? So don't ever feel pressured if someone ever tries to do something that you're uncomfortable with, okay? Don't ever feel pressured to be with someone if you don't think that that person is a good friend or that that person has good intentions for you.
What I also hope for them is that that they're in healthy relationships, you know, be it, you know, whoever they choose is they're open, they have open communication, they treat each other with respect. So that's something that I hope for them if they decide to get into a relationship, that's something that they hope for. And I think with my husband, that's what we try to be an example for them, that this is something that you need to do or you need to find. You know, don't settle for less because you're worth much more than sometimes you're valued for.
They should go to the parent. But as we know, sometimes parents aren't there, they don't understand, they don't want to talk about it. It's an issue that is at home, that is brought up. So those kids can go to those adults, to that counselor, to that teacher, to the gardener, to the bus driver, and ask those questions. Because I really believe, and I tell kids a lot, you need to connect with an adult on campus. You need to connect with someone who you can trust, someone you can talk to, someone you can cry with, someone you can laugh with. And that's just imperative. Kids have to do that.
One of the reasons that we moved back to our hometown is that we have a sort of an extended adult group that have known her whole life and she feels comfortable with. And we've always said that, you know, as far as reaching out to an adult and you don't feel comfortable talking to us, we totally understand that. We're parents, we were kids once, we get it, but know that, you know, we have other adults that we trust with their answers and you know, don't hesitate to reach out.
I think it's easier to go to a trustworthy adult like parents, but I know it gets sort of awkward, so maybe if your school or area you live in has a health department or health teacher, talk to them about it.
I want you, if you were to be sexually active, I would hope that there would be somebody who would be supportive. I would want to be that person. I would want you to come and talk to me. However, if you weren't comfortable talking to me, I would hope that there would be someone around, whether it be your cousin Christina, you know, that you could go and talk to her, or there's also clinics that you can go to. I know sometimes we like to really stress to parents that they must talk to their kids, they must talk to their kids, and I believe that's important. However, initially, if they're not comfortable or they feel that maybe they would do more harm, talk to somebody else. Talk to, you know, whether it's a medical provider, whether it's a family friend, whether, you know, it's your child's godparent, somebody else that you trust that would feel comfortable talking to your child, and also let your child know, you know, if you don't feel comfortable talking to me, here's where you can go.
Young people are exposed to a lot more things that I think we as parents ever consider. So just making sure that we have good open communication with our kids, making sure that we monitor again those friendships where they're at all times, and definitely with technology nowadays, making sure that we're on top of everything that happens, both in their any social media that they might be on, or any communication that they might have with people outside of those that you trust.
We would have her friends and her friends' parents over. We always made it a point to know the family and that they knew us, because we know that in situations that come up, you know, it's great that we have cell phones, but if we don't have the right numbers to call, you know, it doesn't really do us a lot of good. I think it sends a strong signal to her peer group that we're involved, but not necessarily overbearing.
I've seen relationships of young girls with older guys. I'm not for that at all. No, none of us should be for that at all. Los padres no deben de dejar unos hombres que son hombres estar con su hija. Si tiene 12, 13, 14 años, es la ley que no deben estar con ella. Y también no es bueno porque es mal ejemplo. I was at a K-8 school and that happened. There was a young 8th grader that 12, 13, 14 years old was with this 22, 23-year-old guy. Maybe because he had a car, maybe because he's has a job, working in the fields. Maybe that's why she thinks he's this great guy. But for me, I wouldn't have it. And for our parents, you should not have it.
Monitoring. If all parents do is making sure that they know who their kids are hanging out with, who they're talking to, who they're befriending in and outside of the home, that would make a big difference.
It's difficult, and they want their privacy and they want their independence, but the reality is there are predators, and there are many things that go on that you may think your child is completely safe from, and that's not true. So I think it's important to definitely have these conversations, you know, talk to them about human trafficking, talk to them about healthy and unhealthy relationships, and again, don't be afraid to check their phones, check, again, social media, check their computers.
Being here for 4 years now and being pretty new to the area, I was actually very surprised at the high rates of teen pregnancies. Some of the youngest people that I've seen pregnant were pregnant at age 13, delivering at age 14. And the longer I've been here, the more I'm seeing. The other concerning thing is the high rates of STDs. Along with teen pregnancies, high rates of STDs. Very, very commonly we see those here as well. From the very beginning, chlamydia was number one. We saw a lot of that, but just in recent years, we do per capita have the highest rate of syphilis, which was kind of scary.
I think of those kids as myself, that there's just a lack of information.
They should learn about protection, so like if something's going on or like something happens, they would know what to do, they would know where to go, they would know who to ask, they would know where to get help from.
A lot of people just don't know where to go. There are, even in Sanger, there's many clinics like us where they can come, get tested for free, get treated for free, get contraception and condoms for free. But there's just a lot of people that just don't know that that's possible. especially for the teen population. They just don't know that they can walk in by themselves without parents and get checked for an STD, get checked for pregnancy, and actually get treated or get protection without having someone over 18 with them. So a lot of people just don't know. So I think education is the biggest issue that we're dealing with.
How do they know what to do when they don't have the information or the people to connect with to be able to give them that information? So one thing I've learned that when I work in a town like Carmona, I want to know everything there is to know. I want to know everything about Kings County, because the more I know, the more I can tell the kids, their parents, their grandparents, whoever needs to know.
Well, just know that there's many clinics like ours that are out there, and the whole thing is if you have questions, you can come see us, talk to us, get educated on this. Even before you're having sex, you should be, this is a very big decision in your life. You should know what you're getting yourself into before you get into it, or before you catch something that's hard to treat or you're not able to treat.
I would just recommend to parents, know your resources, know what's in the community, know don't be afraid to tell your child that there are programs like Family Pact where your child can go and get birth control.
A lot of families still carry the traditional values where they don't want to talk about sexuality. They don't want to encourage the use of contraception, because that might mean that young kids might think that they're encouraging sexuality, when essentially that's not the case. So I think it really comes down to education, changing some of those cultural norms, and making sure that we continue to practice those important values that we have in the culture, but in a way that eventually is going to benefit the health of the young people.
I wasn't afraid to talk to my boys about what you're going through and puberty and whatever, because I knew I needed to, because I didn't want someone else talking to my kids about sex. That's my job. That's your job.
Take care of your education and get yourself prepared for that next big step. I realize it doesn't always work out that way, but I think it's good to talk about those things with your kids and try and get that mindset going at an early age. Help them to dream about high school and college and succeeding.
School should come first. Dating and all that other stuff should be second.
And just focus on education. Become that leader in the community. Go to college. Become a lawyer. Become a teacher. Become a counselor. And then get married. And then have kids.
What I hope for them for the future is that, they continue their education, they're motivated.
Porque tienen que involucrarse, porque el futuro de su hijo es muy importante.
We're all going through this together, and there's no easy way or no right way to necessarily do it. But, the more people involved, you kind of find a path to something that everyone's comfortable with.
Podemos tener éxito, success. That's what we should shooting for, is what kind of success, how successful can I be? Because you can be as successful as you want in this nation, in this city, in this town.
So I feel like living your best life today, ahora, is so important because it gives them control, and they get to make these choices, and they get to have the information to be the best possible person that they can be.
Acompáñanos en este nuevo camino para que podamos ayudarles a nuestros hijos a permanecer en la escuela y alcanzar sus sueños. Start talking now to prevent unintended teen pregnancy and help our youth reach their goals for happy and healthy lives. Cesar Chavez said, "Our lives are all that really belong to us. So it is how we use our lives that determines the kind of people we are." Comunicación. Para nosotros hijos y nosotros, para que podamos vivir nuestra mejor vida. Ahora.